So here let's see a particular problem that is related to logical implication involving quantifiers. So I am solving several problems related to this particular topic. So first of all, in order to say about this logical implication, we already know that if we consider a quantified statement, let's say P, so P is said to logically imply a quantified statement Q if Q is true whenever P is true. This is the fact that we all know it, right? So we can say the quantified statement P is said to logically imply Q, quantified statement Q, if Q is true whenever P is true. Therefore, we write in this manner. So if there are several such quantified statements, for example P1, P2, P3 and so on up till Pn, okay, and we have got another quantified statement Q. So how can we say that Q is a valid conclusion from the premises? So we have got this argument, right? P1 conjunction P2 conjunction P3 conjunction so on conjunction Pn, right, implies Q. So we can say that this is a valid argument if Q is true whenever each of the premises P1, P2 and so on up till Pn is true, and therefore we can write P1 conjunction P2 conjunction so on conjunction Pn logically implies Q. So this is the fact. Okay, let's take a particular question. Okay, let's see that. Let's see the question. They have given prove the following. Okay, they have asked you to prove the following. Let's see the first question. For all x, okay, for all x, P of x logically implies there exists x comma P of x. So how do you solve this? So you know what does logical implies mean, right? So next step is to solve this one. So we can say, let's take S as the universe. Okay, let's take S as the universe, and we know that for all x, P of x, this logically implies what? This means that P of x is true for every x belongs to the universe. Yeah, that is given as S, right? P of x is true for every x belongs to the universe, and this can also be told as this logically implies. So when we say that P of x is true for every x belongs to x, so can't we say that P of A is true for some x equal to A belongs to S? Right? We have proven that it is true for all x. So now we are taking one component A from that, and we are saying that it is true for some component. So when the reason is I need to justify this particular concept. So when we say that it is true for some component, so we can also, this logically implies P of x is true for some x equal to A belongs to S. Is it not? And therefore we can write it, this logically implies there exists x comma P of x. This is what we can infer. So this is what we have to prove, and we have proved the result. I hope this is clear to you. So we'll see some more problems related to the same concept. Let's take another problem. So here we have got what we have got. Another problem, that is for all x, P of x, okay, or Q of x logically implies for all x, P of x, or there exists x, Q of x. This is what we have to prove. Okay, first of all, let's take this left hand side. So what does this imply? For all x, P of x or Q of x So this logically implies this particular statement is true for every x belongs to S, is it not? So P of x or Q of x, okay, P of x or Q of x is true for every x belongs to the universe S. Now we can say that this logically implies. So this logically implies, so when I say all of them is true, we can say that P of x is true individually, right? P of x is true for every x belongs to S, or, okay, I am splitting it, okay, or Q of x is true for every x belongs to the universe S. So this is how I can tell, right? Okay. Next, so I am individually telling that they are true. Now what I have to prove is, I need to write them. I need to write them separately. See, you can observe this is told for every element, but here we can see some element. So let's turn this into some element. Now we already know that it is true for every element, so it is also true for some component. So let's keep as it is like this, and before that let's translate into this form, okay, quantified statement form. So we can write it is true for every x means for all x P of x. This is how I can write. So this means that P of x is true for every x belongs to S. Now, or see what I can write next. I have to prove that there exists, that means for some component, or I can write Q of A, okay, A represents some component, Q of A is true for A belongs to S. This is how I can write. Next, so this logically implies for all x P of x, or there exists x, right, for some component, there exists x Q of x. So this is how I can prove the result. So let's move to some more problems related to it, related to quantifiers. So let's take a particular problem. So I have been given, I need to prove that there exists x P of x conjunction Q of x logically implies there exists x P of x and there exists x Q of x. So we have asked you to check for the converse. Is the converse true? Converse is what? What is the converse of this thing? Just the opposite. You are turning this implies this one. So we need to prove that. First of all, when we have this, let us prove start with the left hand side. So before that, let us denote the universe. Let H denote the universe. Okay, now next let's solve for the problem. So next we can take the left hand side. So there exists x P of x and Q of x. So this logically implies. So what does this mean? That means this is true for some component. Thereby I can write P. I can replace this open statement by some component P of A and Q of A. Okay. If this is true, it means that for some component it is true. So P of A and Q of A it is true. So therefore some A belongs to the universe S. For some A belongs to the universe S. So next, how can I write? I can write, since this is true, okay, conjunction of them is true, I can write separately P of A is true for some A belongs to the universe S, and Q of A is true for some A belongs to the universe S. But what we have to prove? There exists. Okay. So isn't this? We are taking some component. Therefore, we can say there exists x P of x, and okay, there exists x Q of x. Okay. This is how we can prove the given quantified statement. This is how we can prove the implication. So next we will see how we can get the converse, or is the converse true. Okay, so let's start with the converse itself. So there exists x comma p of x. Okay. So what does this actually mean? This logically means it is true for some component, that is p of a. Okay, p of a for some a belongs to the universe S. Next, similarly, if we take there exists x q of x. Okay, this logically implies q of, see, it need not be a always. Okay, it can be another component b for some b. So it always we are not taking the same component, right? For different open statements we are taking different components. So let's take b here for some component. So what will be, there exists x p of x conjunction there exists x q of x. So this logically implies, as per this what we have written, so we will get p of a conjunction q of p, right? But this line is not same as this line, is it not? So if it was same, we could have said that it is true. But this is not logically equivalent to p of a conjunction q of a, because b need not be same as a. So therefore we can say the converse is not necessarily true. Always it need not be true. Sometimes it can be false. So I will conclude. Therefore converse need not necessarily be true. So this is what they have asked. Therefore we can say that the converse, that is, there exists x p of x, okay, conjunction there exists x q of x, okay, does not logically imply, this is how we can write. So this is a converse starting from the right hand side. So this does not logically imply there exists x comma p of x and q of x. Okay, so this is the proof. So next we shall see some more problems related to it. So let's continue our discussion with the same concept, that is logical implication involving quantifiers. So let's take a particular problem. So the problem states, prove that the statement there exists x comma q of x follows logically from the premises p of x implies q of x and there exists x comma p of x. So this is the question. So how we can solve? We need to prove that, we need to justify this given the premises, this one and this one. So first of all, in order to solve this, we know that there exists x p of x. This logically means what? That means for some component of x, p of x is true. Or we can say that if I have a as a component, okay, p of a is true for some a in the universe. So whatever may be the universe, it is true for some component. Therefore I am saying it as p of a. So how we shall write it totally? We can write it as there exists x comma p of x conjunction. We can write this as conjunction of the premises. Is it wrong? So for all x. So here we have got for all x in the question. For all x, p of x implies q of x. How can this be written as? So this logically implies, so there is this p of x can be written as p of a conjunction, and it is true for every component. So it is also true for some component. So I can write, if a is a component, p of a implies q of a. So this is true. And we can say that this logically implies, see, you know, this is some kind of rule. We know that p implies q conjunction p logically implies Q. Right? So this is as per Modus-Pon's rule. So this is as per Modus-Pon's rule. Here we have got some component A. Okay, this is matching our Modus-Pon's rule, right? So what will be P of A conjunction P of A implies Q of A. We get it as Q of A. So this is as per our Modus-Pon's rule. So next, how we can justify this question? So we have to prove this one given these premises. So we can infer that we have got Q of A. So this is logically implies, since this open sentence, so instead of open sentence it is purely a proposition, since we are replacing it by some component in that universe. So Q of A, so since A is some component in the universe and Q of A is true, since it is true for some component, that means I can write there exists X Q of X. Right, there exists X Q of X. That is what we have to prove from the given premises. So coming to the next question, the different part of the question. So we are given to prove that whether the following argument is valid. We need to prove that the argument is valid. So here we have got statements. So the first statement, now the first premise is all men are mortal. Okay, second premise is Sachin is a man. And in the conclusion you have got Sachin is mortal. Okay, Sachin is mortal. This is what you have got. So you need to write down in terms of symbols and then check for the validity. So first of all, let us denote the universe. So let S denote the universe, that is universe consisting of set of all men. So universe, that is universe consisting of set of all men. Okay, set of all men. Then what is the next point, and then how we'll write? We should write in terms of open sentences here. So we can write open sentence P of X. So what will be the first open sentence? So you can observe there are concepts here, that is mortal and just mortal. We have got one concept, that is mortal, and Sachin is one among them. So we can write in terms of variable X itself. So X is mortal. This is how we can write the open sentence. Okay, this is how we can write the open sentence. X is mortal. Next, coming to let's continue with the concept. So when we write X is mortal, okay, that was our I'll write it once again here. X is mortal. So this is our open sentence, and we have one person in that universe. So that person, let us denote the component from that universe, that is universe consists of set of all men. We are taking one component A, and Sachin is one of among them. So this A, let A denote Sachin. Okay, let A denote Sachin. So how does the argument read? So the given argument reads, so what do you have actually? You have got all men are mortal. So we can write this as for all X belongs to the universe. What universe we have taken? S. For all X belongs to S, comma. What is the statement that tells you that X is mortal? We have written it by P of X, right? So we can write for all X belongs to S, P of X. Okay, And the next premise is Sachin is a man. So we can say Sachin is denoted by A, right? So, and A belongs to, Sachin belongs to set of all men, and men, set of all men is nothing but your universe. So we can write the second premise by A belongs to S, and therefore see the conclusion. Sachin is mortal. So you know P of X tells about mortal, and Sachin is one component that belongs to the universe. So let us write it as therefore P of A. So this tells Sachin is mortal. Okay, now we have to justify whether we get this valid conclusion. So we know that when we say for all x belongs to S, comma P of X, so when this is true, right, and A belongs to S, so we know by rule of universal specification. What is rule of universal specification? Rule of universal specification tells that if we have got P of X, that is, if we have got open statement P of X is true for all x in the universe, is true for all x in the universe S, and if A belongs to the universe S, then P of A is true. Okay, so what do we have here? If P of X is true for all x in the universe S, so this is right, correct, and A belongs to S, so this is one of them, A belongs to S, and therefore P of A is true. So this is clearly justified, right? So we can say that the given argument is valid, therefore the given argument is valid as per rule of universal specification. So we need to mention the rule so as to justify the validity. So let's see another problem pertaining to the same concept. So we have got a question, that is, we need to find whether the given argument is valid. Find whether the given argument is valid. So this is what we have to find out. So we are given two statements. That is, the first statement is no engineering student is bad in studies. Okay, this is the first sentence, and the next sentence is Anil is not bad in studies. Therefore, Anil is an engineering student. Okay, this is the question. We need to first of all define the universe wherever possible, and then justify the given question. So first of all, we can observe the two statements. No engineering student is bad in studies. So this means that if he is an engineering student, then he is not bad in studies. It's the same meaning, right? So if he is an engineering student, then he is not bad in studies. And the second concept is about a person who belongs to the universe of engineering student. His name is Anil, and Anil is not bad in studies. Okay, so first of all, you have got two concepts here. One is regarding engineering. Okay, he is an engineering student. The other is about bad in studies. Okay, so let's write down the open sentences. So P of X, let us denote P of X, why X is an engineering student. X is an engineering student. So this is our open statement. Next we have got another open statement here. X is bad in studies. So usually we write open sentence in terms of without any not kind of word. So let's translate these statements into symbolic form. So I can say that the given argument reads. So just verify what does the question say. So no engineering student is bad in studies. That means if he is an engineering student, okay, he is not bad in studies. Okay, so how do we write that? So let us write in terms of argument for all X. That means for any engineering student that we consider. So that means it is P of X. If he is an engineering student, then he is not bad in studies. That means negation Q of X. So this is our first premise. So coming to the second premise, Anil is not bad in studies. So what does this tell us? Since Anil belongs to the set of all engineering students, we have denoted, we have to denote this Anil by component A. So I'll say let A denote Anil. Over here I'll add over here. Okay. So how we can write Anil is not bad in studies? So bad in studies is represented by Q of X. So if Anil belongs to this universe, so it will be Q of A, right? But the statement reads Anil is not bad in studies. So we have to write it as negation Q of A. Okay, negation Q of A. Therefore, so how we can write? Anil is an engineering student. What does the conclusion say? Anil is an engineering student. So we can, we know that X is an engineering student is given by P of X. And if A belongs to this open sentence, we can say that it is P of A. Okay, therefore P of A. So let's justify. So we have to check whether we have got any rule that simplifies this to the conclusion. So we know that for all X, P of X implies negation Q of X. This logically implies what? So see, if it is true for every component in the universe X, and if A is a component in the universe, then we can say that P of A implies negation Q of A by rule of universal specification. By rule of universal specification. Clear? So then next we can write it as next we'll write it together for all X. Okay, for all X, P of X. So this is the first premise as per symbolic form. Okay, and negation Q of A. This is the second premise. Okay, I have written together in terms of conjunction. So we have simplified this recently. So this logically implies P of A implies negation Q of A. Right? Since it is true for every component, we can say that it is true for some component. Conjunction. So this was as per our rule of universal specification. Conjunction negation Q of A. Next step. Do we have any rule called P implies Q and Q? See, these two terms are same. So I am taking this as Q. This as some component P. Does it match any rule of inference? No, it does not match any rule of inference. Therefore, we can say that it does not logically imply what they have told. Does not logically imply P of A, right? So what we have to prove? P of A, conclusion. So therefore we can say this does not logically implies P of A. This does not logically implies P of A. Okay. So in the next video session, you will also see few more problems related to the same concept. So let's take another question related to logical implication using quantifiers. So this is all about quantifiers. And to solve all these problems, you need to know the rules of inference as well as any other rules pertaining to universal specification as well as rule of universal generalization. So this is the problem. In the previous video sessions, you have seen about solving or checking whether the argument is valid or not based on the statements. But here you have been given symbolic forms. So what they have asked is to prove that the following argument is valid. So let's simplify this portion. It is given in terms of symbols. So we can write this: for all x, p of x implies q of x. So we'll write this all these premises in terms of conjunction first. So we can write this as conjunction: for all x, q of x implies r of x. So this is how we can write first. Next, we will try to simplify this. So if it is true for every component in the universe, if this particular quantified statement is true for every element in the universe, so then it is true for some component too. So as per rule of universal specification, we can write P of A. If A is some component in the universe, we can write P of A implies Q of A. Right? Conjunction. The same thing we can apply for this phrase. So Q of A implies R of A. Okay. So next we know that this is some form of syllogism, rule of syllogism. So what is rule of syllogism states is that P implies Q and Q implies R logically implies P implies R. So P implies Q, Q implies R. Logically implies P implies R. But here you have got some component. So we can write P of A implies R of A. This is as per rule of syllogism. Okay. This is as per rule of syllogism. Therefore, we can write this logically implies. Since it is true for some component in the universe, we can also say when we state it generally, okay, we can apply rule of universal generalization. That is, given a small component is true from that universe, we can generalize that it is true for every component. So this becomes P of x implies R of x. Okay, for all x, P of x implies R of x. So if it is true for some component, it is true to be generally true for all elements in the universe. This is by rule of universal generalization. Rule of universal generalization. So we know that rule of universal generalization, it states that if we have got an open statement P of x, and it is proved to be true for some component, that is A here, something like this, then the quantified statement for all x belongs to S, P of x is true. So that is your rule of universal generalization. Okay, so we have solved this problem. Next, let's see another problem related to the same concept. So we have got the question: prove that the argument is valid. We need to prove whether the argument is valid. First of all, let's write this in terms of conjunction. Let's check whether we get this conclusion. Okay, so for all x, so whenever you solve a problem, you can write directly. Since we have got for all x over here, I can write directly over here like this: P of x implies Q of x. Okay, P of x implies Q of x and R of x. Okay, this is one premise. Conjunction P of x and S of x. This is the second premise. right? You can observe P of x and S of x. So let's simplify this. So we know that if we have if it is true for some component, then it is, if it is true for all, for any element in the universe, then it is true for some component in the universe. So, but let's observe the connectives here. Here we have got and, here also we have got and. Either we can combine this portion with this entire component, or this component with this component, but this S of x is not required here. P of x, we have got similarities. We can combine P of x and this entire component. So let's apply the kind of associative law over here. Okay, let's apply associative law. What do we get here is P of x implies Q of x. Make sure the brackets are as it is, and P of x. Okay, I'll give a bracket. So this is as per associative law. I've grouped the brackets in different manner as per my convenience. So now we can observe, if we take this as Q, it is like P conjunction P implies Q, right? So we know that P conjunction P implies Q logically implies Q, is it not? So this is as per the rule of modus ponens. So what we can write here, so this logically implies Q. So what is our Q? This portion. So it will be Q of x conjunction R of x, okay, and write the remaining term, that is S of x. So here I have applied rule of modus ponens. Next, how we can simplify? What do we want actually from the problem? We need just R and S, conjunction of R and S. So, but what have we got here? We have arrived at Q, R and S, right? So, what if we group R and S together? So, let's group R and S together. So, I will be using certain laws. So, I will use logically equivalent symbol. Okay, so Q of x conjunction, let me use a different bracket, R of x and S of x. So I have grouped these two together. Okay. The reason is I need this in the result. Okay, I have grouped this together. So next, let's see how we can see. First of all, you have to mention this is a kind of associative law that we are using, because we have combined them in different manner. Okay, so we know that by conjunctive simplification, P conjunction Q logically implies P. Correct? So as per rule of conjunctive simplification, P conjunction Q logically implies P. This is our rule of conjunctive simplification. So now let's apply this. So let's take this as P and this as Q. Let me swap this together so that it will be easier for visualization. So I'll swap this. So I am making use of commutative law. Okay. So now, so if I take this as P, this as Q, so P conjunction Q logically implies P. So this is as per our rule of conjunctive simplification. I am using this logically implies simple. So P conjunction Q logically implies P. So we get R of x conjunction S of x. Okay, R of x conjunction S of x. Then actually we can write for all x everywhere. Okay, if you do not want, at least at the end you have to mention. So okay, this argument is valid. So as per rule of conjunctive simplification, okay, as per rule of conjunctive simplification, then we can write it is valid. The argument is valid. as per this rule. We can write in view of so if you are writing like this, you can say that in view of universal generalization. Why I am writing universal generalization is because I am taking one component x from the universe and I am proving that, and I know that it is true for some component x, so thereby generally proving that it is true for all. So in that case we are using rule of universal generalization, and we are saying that it is this in view of rule of universal generalization, this proves the argument or it is a valid argument. So this is how you can conclude. Okay, so we have solved this problem. So let's move to the next problem. So next you can observe, we need to prove this. So there are how many premises? There are 4 premises and we have got a conclusion. Okay, there are 4 premises. So let's write all these in terms of conjunction. See what you have to prove. You have to prove that the following argument is valid. Okay, let's write this in terms of conjunction first. So we can write this as for all x, p of x or q of x, conjunction there exists x comma negation p of x. So this is how we can write in terms of conjunction for the first 2 premises. Okay, I'll take 2 to each one of them. Okay, I'll combine 2 to simplify, then join with other 2 like that. So you can observe, just combine the first 2. I'll simplify this. So we know that by rule of universal specification, if p of x is true for every component, then it is also true for some component in the universe. So if I have this as true, then this I can say that it logically implies p of a or q of a as per rule of universal specification. So as per rule of universal specification. And there exists x negation p of x. The same thing we can apply rule of specification. It is true for every component in the universe. And we can say that this is negation p of a. Right? Negation p of a for some component. For some component, that means for some a in the universe. So now, see, now we can, you are taking one particular term, thereby you can apply rules of inference or any laws of logic. If you are taking every component, it is not possible to prove the rules or laws. It is applicable to one particular component. So only after applying rule of universal specification, you can simplify the terms. So you know p or q. Right? P or q. This is in the form of p or q. And negation p. Do you have any rule? P or q and negation p. It logically implies q. Right? This is as per rule of disjunctive syllogism. P or q and negation p logically implies q. So here we have got p or q and negation p. Logically implies q. So what is there in place of q? Q of a. So we can mention this is rule of disjunctive syllogism. Disjunctive syllogism. So next, we have combined first 2 terms. Let's join this with the remaining terms. So what do we have in the next? Let's combine this term. So if we combine the result of the previous term q of a with the remaining terms, that is for all x negation q of x or r of x, okay, conjunction for all x s of x implies negation r of x. So I have combined the remaining terms now. let's simplify this first of all. Since it is true for every component in the universe, I can say it is true for some component. So we are applying rule of universal specification in both the terms. So I can say this logically implies, I'll write the first term as it is, and negation Q of, this will be negation Q of A or R of A as per rule of universal specification. So I cannot take every component. Instead of that, I will be taking one component and I am proving that it is true. Okay, next conjunction. Apply the same rule of universal specification. What we get is S of A implies negation R of A. So this is what we get. So now we can turn this into implication in terms of like Q implies R, right? We can turn this in terms of implication. What do we get? So I'll write here logical equivalent Q of A, and Q of A implies R of A, and I'll write the remaining terms. S of A implies negation R of A. So this is the law of conditional that you are using. Okay, this is the law of conditional. Next, how you can simplify this? We know that this is in the form of, let's take this as P and this as Q. Okay, let's take this as P itself. Okay, because these terms are same. So what we can write? P conjunction P implies Q is Q. Right? P conjunction P implies Q is Q as per modus ponens. So it will be, what is there in place of Q? R of A. Okay, R of A, and S of A implies negation R of A. So this here we have applied rule of modus ponens. Okay, rule of modus ponens. Next, how we can simplify this term? So we have got P conjunction. If I write this in terms of contrapositive, so I can write this in terms of contrapositive because the conditional and contrapositive are same. What is the contrapositive of this one? Contrapositive of S of A implies negation R of A is R of A implies negation S of A. So let's write this as R of A conjunction R of A implies negation S of A. So this is the contrapositive. You can mention that, and you can observe these terms are same. It's like P conjunction P implies Q. Okay. So what is P conjunction P implies Q? P conjunction P implies Q is logical implies Q. So this is as per the rule of modus ponens. So what is there in place of Q? Negation S of A. So we will get negation S of A as per rule of modus ponens. So just verify the result. What we have to get? So since we know that we have taken one particular component, and see if P of X is true for some component, then we are generally proving that it is true for all components. So therefore, by rule of universal generalization, we can say that there exists X, negation S of X. So this is by rule of universal generalization. So we are proving that it is true for some component. Therefore, generally we are proving that it is true for all components. There exists X, negation S of X. So by rule of universal generalization, we can say that the argument is valid. So you can now tally your result. What conclusion we have to get is there exists X, negation Q S of X. So what we have obtained? The same. We have obtained the same. There exists X, negation S of X. This is how we can solve the problems, and these are problems related to logical implication involving quantifiers. Thank you.